Doesn't that just scream like leprechaun? Hey guys, I'm Lauren Trishelle and welcome to my channel. So today we are starting a new series and this is going to be the Throwback Thursday series. So this is going to be a special video that I do once a month. Each Throwback Thursday video is going to center around one eyeshadow palette that is no longer available. Either it was discontinued, or it was limited edition and it already ran its course, or maybe the makeup company went under, so the palette is simply no longer available. I wanted to start this series simply because I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes that aren't available anymore, but I still love those eyeshadow palettes and I still want to use them. I still want to talk about them. And I'm sure that there are many people out there watching who have these palettes in their collection or maybe still want to talk about them too. So thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and get this started. So today we are going to be focusing on the Juvia's Place The Tribe eyeshadow palette. I actually recently made a video using this palette. It was my Shamrock makeup transformation, which was a whole lot of fun to film. And I used this palette for a lot of that look. So today we're talking about it again because Juvia's Place is a great makeup company. I actually have several. I think I have 4 of their palettes maybe, but I really love Juvia's Place. I love all of the palettes that I have from them. So I want to talk about them, okay? First of all, this artwork is so stunning. I specifically chose this palette for March because this palette is great for St. Patrick's Day. Because today's look is going to be a festive green eyeshadow tutorial. March is the month of green. So let's go ahead and get into it. I want to do a really fun look today, super festive, super St. Patrick's Day, super leprechaun. So let's see what we can do. So first, I am going to start with the shade Masai. Also, I could be pronouncing these incorrectly. If I am, you can definitely let me know in the comments below because I'm not sure. Anyway, so we're gonna go into the shade Masai. I'm going to use a fluffy brush and I'm just gonna swoop it along my brow bone area because I want this shade to work as a background, okay? And I don't want this shade to be too overpowering. I kind of want it to be a more subtle transition shade, so I'm not going to over apply it. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm really liking that as just that subtle brow bone kind of transition shade. Next, I'm going to use that same fluffy brush and I am going to dip in the shade Tootsie and I'm just going to sweep that a little bit under the shade Masai, but I'm just going to follow that same line. We're not really applying this on the actual lid, we're just swooping it under Masai. And I forgot to say, as you're following along in this tutorial, obviously you do not have to have this same exact eyeshadow palette that I'm using. Please shop your stash, okay? Shop your stash and follow along. I'm sure you have similar shades somewhere in your own personal eyeshadow collection. So definitely just use those. You don't have to have this same exact palette, I promise you. For some reason, I have always had problems with this shade Tootsie. I don't know what it is. I like Juvia's Place. I think they typically have pretty good quality eyeshadows, especially for the price point. Their glitter and metallic eyeshadows are usually like so spot on, but I do struggle with their matte shadows sometimes, which I do understand. Matte shadows are typically harder to make and produce, but I also haven't purchased a new palette from Juvia's Place in a while, so they may have fixed that problem, I'm not sure. But yeah, so I just finished with that stage. We just swooped Tootsie right under Masai. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip that same fluffy brush back into Masai, and I'm just gonna blend these two together by just swooping it over. Beautiful. I feel like a bird. Now I want to apply the shade Ashanti on the lid. So I'm actually gonna take this same fluffy brush. Y'all don't understand, you can do a lot with a fluffy brush. I do this a lot in my eyeshadow routine where I will use like two brushes, maybe 3, and I just keep reusing it, and it works. It works. I think it actually makes the shades blend together easier. I do usually keep a napkin with me when I'm doing makeup, because sometimes it helps to just dip off some of that excess product onto the napkin so I get less transference, but I promise you, I think it actually helps the shadows blend together better, okay? Yeah, we're just gonna use that same fluffy brush. We're going to dip into Ashanti and just brush it across the lid. And I'm actually doing more of a tapping motion with this shade because I've noticed that is working slightly better. This shade is so pretty. I'm loving it. This is so pretty. Okay, so that applied quite nicely. I'm really liking how that turned out, and it's such a beautiful brown shade. It looks so pretty on the lid. I'm so pleased with it. So now, just to help balance some things, I am going to bring that shade Ashanti. I'm going to mirror it below my eyes. I'm going to apply just a thin line of it down on the lower lash line. So I'm taking a flat packing brush. I'm going to dip just the tip of the brush into the pan, and then we are just gonna swoop some of this on the lower lash line. Beautiful. I think that really helped balance out the eyeshadow look, so I'm very pleased with that. Now I want to add some dimension to the look. I want to add some wow factor, some pop. So I'm going to take that same flat packing brush. I'm going to dip off the product onto a napkin, and I'm going to wet this brush. So I'm just going to grab my setting spray. Now I'm going to dip my wet packing brush into the shade Chaga. And I'm going to apply it on the lid. I'm going to start in the center of the lid and just kind of work my way out a little bit, okay? Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, this shade is like, wow. Oh my gosh, I'm over here like dying over this beautiful shade. I told you guys that Juvia's Place has the most delicious, like creamy glitter and metallic eyeshadow. They're so creamy, they apply so evenly, so smooth, they attach to the brush very nicely, which sometimes is hard because some companies have very pretty shimmer shades, but they just don't want to attach to a brush no matter how hard you try. But the Juvia's Place shadows have always attached to the brush so nicely. So you don't even have to work as hard. They're so much easier. I just had to sweep that out down here because it just is so pretty. I just want more of this glitter all over my eye. And I'm even gonna sweep some on my lower lash line as well. Just like glitter everywhere, please. Oh my gosh, that shade is gorgeous. I'm so obsessed right now. Okay, and I'm just gonna dip my fluffy brush back into Ashanti, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of blending out up here, just so there's not as harsh of a line. When in doubt, blend it out, you guys, okay? Seriously, just keep blending and you'll get there. I am feeling so pretty and so green and like a tropical bird. I feel like a tropical bird, and I am really loving it. So one more thing I wanted to do, I like to darken up the outer corner of my eyes just because it does add some more depth and dimension. I think with my eye shape, it just works very nicely. So I am taking a small pointed detail brush. I am going to dip lightly into the shade Sand, and I am just lightly going to apply that in my outer corner. Wow, I love that, and I am so obsessed with how this is looking so far. I feel like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The pigment on this palette is mind-blowing. All of the shades blended together so beautifully. Wow. Final thing I'm going to do for the eyeshadow, I am just going to take my fingertip and I am going to dip into the shade Coral, and then I'm going to dab that on my inner corner and then on my high brow bone. Wow, that is so pretty. Wow, wow, wow. So, so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I'm glowing. Okay, this shade has a very beautiful green reflect to it, which I didn't expect because in the pan, it looks like a cream shimmer with a like brown, like a golden brown reflect, but that's not how it applies. It applies as a cream shimmer with a lime green reflect. It all goes together. Okay, that came out so pretty. I am so pleased with this outcome. We almost used all 9 of the shades. We used 7 of them. So I'm so proud of us. We used 7 of the shades today. I love this palette. I've had this palette for years and years. It is such a great palette. I always pull it out around this time of year. It's always my go-to St. Patrick's Day palette just because it is such a St. Patrick's Day color story. Like the color story looks like a leprechaun to me. It looks like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It looks like a shamrock. Like it has everything that you need for St. Patrick's Day. So that's why it's my go-to palette. This has been such a successful Throwback Thursday so far. Okay, so now I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup off camera real quick, and then I'll come back to give you a final update and final thoughts and everything, okay? Okay guys, I'm back. I have completed today's look and I'm so happy with the outcome. I am honestly just obsessed with this palette now. Like I have had this in my collection for years and I didn't even know its true potential. I've been sleeping on it, to be honest with you guys. This was my go-to March palette. This was my go-to St. Patrick's Day palette, but I just didn't really play with it outside of that time of year, and I didn't know that it has such wonderful potential and it's such a beautiful, well-performing palette. I'm so impressed. I love today's look. If you guys loved today's look, please let me know in the comments below. Just how do you feel about today's look? Was there a specific shade in this palette that you were impressed with, interested in? Anything, just let me know in the comments below how you're feeling. Does anybody else have this palette still? If you do, also let me know in the comments below because I'm curious. I just wonder like who still has this palette? Does anyone still think about this palette? Does anybody even still remember this palette? That's also why I want to start doing these Throwback Thursdays because I want to get a gauge on those types of things, you know? I think this is such a successful and such an amazing like festive green eyeshadow look. I'm really impressed with it. It's perfect for St. Patrick's Day. It's perfect for the month of March. I'm sure you can recreate it using one of your palettes at home if you don't happen to have this exact palette. Did anybody follow along to this tutorial? And if you did, how did it go? Let me know in the comments below. I just really want some feedback from you guys. And my thoughts on the palette, I love it. I think Juvia's Place should absolutely bring this palette back. Why did it get discontinued? Honestly, why did it get discontinued? It's too good to get discontinued. I think they should bring it back. And I do have a little bit of criticism. I think they should bring it back, but I think they should reformulate the shade Tootsie. That one doesn't perform the best. So if they reformulated that and brought it back, it would be perfect. It would be a 10 out of 10. It would be a dream palette at such an affordable price point, which is even better. Anyways, that is today's video. All of the products worn on my face will be listed in the description box below. If you're interested in watching that shamrock makeup transformation that I mentioned earlier, I will also link that in the description box below, so make sure to check that out. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much for spending time with me. If you liked this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment below, subscribe, and ring the bell. Do all the things. And thank you so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.